The first thing I wanna say is that this is not really a tutorial about how to play ACR, but a guide about how things work in ACR, even though I will teach you how to knife stand and rope stand in the mechanics part at the end of the video. If it was a tutorial, I could be hours talking about everything and the video could be so long that nobody could watch it. Don't get me wrong, that doesn't mean that in the future I don't bring a specific video about how to play Assassinate or Artifact Assault. I want this video to be as short as possible, so I'm not going to talk about so many things because I think they are either so easy to understand or so complex and advanced that you don't need to know them because you are only gonna use them every summer solstice. I also want to say that I'm going to give my opinion about so many things, so for example if I say that it's 2026 and that ACR is all about 3 modes, that doesn't mean that you shouldn't play wherever you want to. It's just that I think there's not really any point or that there are better options. I have divided this guide in 3 parts: modes, ability sets, and in-game mechanics, so let's get started. The first thing you want to do when playing any AC multiplayer is choosing a game mode from custom mods rather than play now. There are 4 team modes you can play in ACR, but I only recommend you play Artifact Assault. You can play Manhunt, Chest Capture and Escort in ACB and feel the 2 experience, because I don't think having Knife and Smoke Bomb every 30 seconds paired with boost cooldown is very enjoyable when you are a pursuer. If you want to try them, which you should because Manhunt is a very goated mode, you should play ACB instead. You can learn how to play Manhunt without this tutorial, which is a great video that shows everything you need to know about Manhunt in only 7 minutes, or you can learn Escort from the hundreds of videos in Delpit's channel, both added in the description. And about Chest Capture, well, it's basically Manhunt but with chests. Artifact Assault, also called AA, is a 4v4 board with each team having 2 runners and 2 defenders. There aren't really any assigned roles, but playing with 2 runners and 2 defenders is way more fun than just everyone running and defending at the same time. The goal is pretty obvious, but keep in mind that as a runner, your mission is to score and not to kill other players. When a runner kills another runner that has the flag is what we call a U-turn. U-turning many times in the game will make people really salty and makes the game kind of toxic. However, if you kill when escorting your teammate, it's perfectly fine, and it is what we call escort kills. In free-for-all, you play on your own, and these are the modes that you can play, so let's start with Deathmatch. I find Deathmatch a really good mode if you are new into the game because it's very forgiving, there isn't much skill gap, and you are going to be trading kill deaths the entire time. However, the better you get, the more you realize the game is capped because you can only kill when you have a contract, and sometimes it takes 20-30 seconds before that happens. Keep in mind that if you get in first place, that means that you're gonna have 3-4 pursuers at once, that means half of the lobby, which sucks when you play on a small map like in Deathmatch. So once you get good at Deathmatch, you should be playing the best free-for-all mode, which is Assassinate. Simple Deathmatch is basically Deathmatch without abilities, Unwanted is Deathmatch but you play in the entire map, so there's not really any point in playing them. Still, the Artifact and Corruption are such weird ones because they can be fun with friends, but with a max of 5 players. I don't recommend those modes with a full lobby because you are most likely gonna get chased the whole time, and I don't know if 7 players chasing you is something you want, and also you can play Artifact Assault instead. And finally, the true king of free-for-all, Assassinate. This mode is not meant for everyone because it is a complete mess, and it can be very frustrating and challenging when you start the game, and also the skill gap is huge. But it is also the one that represents that free-for-all feeling the most, and the one where you can get an absurd amount of points like 26k, 30k if you know what you are doing, even though the game is capped at 20k. You spawn with no contract and you need to find players among the civilians, which isn't very difficult since everyone is in high profile the whole time. You want to play this mode really aggressive, you don't want to be passive at all, but this doesn't mean that you need to chase kill the first guy you see. Just be free running the entire time and keep moving. If you chase someone, which will happen pretty often and is far away, just release the lock and keep an eye on him until you can knock him again. This game is based on a lot of mind games you play with your opponents and striking at the right moment. A quick reminder is that if you play with knives, don't knife spam people when they are in aggro in order to chase them, as they will hate their lives, therefore they will hate you, and it is considered a very toxic playstyle in Assassinate. So depending on the mode you play, you are going to choose one ability set or another. I'm going to start with perks and streaks, and then I will move on to abilities. Not much to say about the perks, every of them have a purpose and they are pretty simple, but Sentry, Blender and Fast Getaway don't really suit anywhere and there are better options. If you want to survive, play Resilience and Overall Cooldown. If you want to kill, play Resistance and Kill Buffer, and if you want a jack of all trades, you can play Resistance and Resilience, for example. As for the streaks, all of them are fine except Animus Hack and Salim Animus Hack, because they are very toxic streaks. With lot streaks, you wanna go for either boost cooldown if you play team modes or double score if you play free for all. So now it's time to talk about abilities. There is a total of 15 abilities, but it is really only 6 of them. Poison, Smoke Bomb, Charge, Teleport, Mute and Knives. Closure and Tripwire are fine if you play as a defender in Artifact Assault, but only in specific maps, so I'm not really gonna talk about them. As for the rest, they are either useless or inefficient because the game already offers you the tools and mechanics, so you can skip using them. And for fuck's sake guys, just never play with gun, alright? I don't know why this ability was added into the game, but apart from being a waste because it only gives you the whopping amount of 100 points, it's so toxic and you won't really learn how to play the game. Poison is a very fast and useful ability for Assassinate because it allows you to kill a player without going into a kill animation, so this means you will have more time to go kill nearby players. Keep in mind that it takes 6.5 seconds before your target dies, and in that time he can be killed by other players and even by you. If that happens, you won't get the kill but the intercepted bonus for the whopping amount of 50 points, so you need to use this ability very wisely. Also, it doesn't work when you are in high profile, so make sure before poisoning someone you release that button. Mute is a very unreliable ability that works 40% of the times. It is used to stun and only stun, and this ability is not wipe. AC3 and AC4 wipe is a completely different ability. Mute makes everyone in the range unable to kill, stun or use any ability, even if they are on top of you or below you. You can easily counter this ability by being next to an edge and then grabbing. As you can see, this will surprise your target and you will most likely get a grab kill. Charge is so simple that I'm not wasting any time, so let's move on to the next one. Teleport is a very unique ability and it is very useful in Artifact Assault. For example, if you are Knife, you press teleport and you will disappear in everyone's face. What you need to know about this ability is that the camera is what dictates where you are going to be teleported. So for example, you can trick players by facing with your character to one place, like the Havel, so people will think that's where I'm going to teleport. But instead, I put the camera at the tower and this is where I am actually gonna be teleported. Keep in mind that your teleport can be stopped by knives, and if you are at the edge of the map and you look outside of it and press teleport, your teleport is going to be this awful. Smoke Bomb is a very versatile ability. You use it to stun or block your pursuers, you can use it while kill or stun animation, and it can be thrown in ACR, but there's two things you need to know. The first thing is that if you are on top of something and you go to the edge and then use the Smoke Bomb, it will actually drop down instead of appearing on top. And the second thing you need to know is that in this game there's two types of grab. The most common is the wall grab, where all your body is attached to the wall. Even if you are below your target, you will be affected by the Smoke Bomb. The second grab is the one where your entire body is in the air and you are only grabbing with two hands. If someone uses the Smoke Bomb, it won't affect you and you get killed at any time. Knives are a great ability that can be used both in offense and defense. If you use them in offense, make sure you are in Deathmatch or Artifact Assault because, as I said, having knives every 30 seconds in Assassinate can be extremely painful. In defense, they are used to stun players, which I'm going to talk in a minute. Knives are used to slow down, to make people fall while they are climbing, jumping or in acrobatic position. When you are knifed, you can't jump, so if you are on top of a rooftop and try to jump at the edge, you will fall off. Also keep in mind that if you knife someone in awkward position, they will fall and get a specific animation, and their time being knifed is going to be so much longer. And finally, the moment most of you have been waiting for, in-game mechanics. So this is the last and most important part of the video, so pay attention please. So if you are new into the game, you probably already got knifed, then stunned, and you have tried to do the same thing and got killed. And you will be, okay, what the fuck is going on? There are so many videos from 2014 with 67 theories about how to knife stun, but listen, it's 2026 and we already know everything. The only thing you need to know is that when you knife someone, his skill range decreases only while he is knifed, therefore they can get stunned. It doesn't matter if you go from the front, the side or the rear, it doesn't affect at all. The only thing that matters is that you need to walk when you get close in order to stun him. If you run or fast walk, you will die. Just normal walk. So for example, here I knife someone in acro, and as I said before, their time being knifed is going to be so much longer, and this allows me to sprint, and in the moment before being in the range to stun, I'm going to slow down to normal walk and then stun him. Some players may panic when they get knifed and use the Smoke Bomb to block themselves so they cannot get stunned. this is what we call OSB, Offensive Smoke Bomb. Always keep a safe distance just in case this happens, and even if you get OSB'd, that doesn't mean that you cannot get the stun. Just always keep an eye on how much time left you have, because knives don't last forever. Now it's time to talk about the cheese of ACR, and I start with the roof stun. So the roof stun is a type of mechanic stun in which you or your pursuer become vulnerable right after climbing a wall. It doesn't matter the height as long as there is enough space to do it. Also, if you think of using a smoke bomb in order to avoid getting stunned, it doesn't really matter and you will get stunned through your smoke bomb. The distance is around 2.5 meters and the best way to do it is next to the edge, but it works in every direction as long as you keep the distance. If you do it at the edge, just be careful because you may grab instead of actually stunning. These are examples about how to roof stun, so now it's your turn to practice. Now it's time to talk about the last mechanic stun, which is the drop stun. So basically when your pursuer is at a decent height, usually a standard structure, and he drops down or jumps, they will become vulnerable for a moment, so you can easily stun them if you're fast enough. Notice when I said at a decent height, because not every jump or every drop is going to be a guaranteed drop stun. You get jump assist in ACR that can be either so useful or a complete nightmare, and most likely the latter one. If you lock someone and he's in the range, you will be redirected in midair and land in front of him. This can be awful since you will probably get drop stun or affected by a smoke bomb. So instead, release the lock, do a normal jump so as not to get jump assist, and you can do something like this. So when I said before that some abilities were useless, you are going to see why. The game works in a way where you need to know who is a player and who is a civilian, and most of the time is so easy, but what happens when your target is in a group full of civilians? Easy. You go in with more of them, everyone becomes like you, and the one who isn't, that's the real player. Yes! Cheeky tactics! Yes, yes! Just kidding. The compass is a tool you must use to discover who is your target. But how? When your compass is shining, it means your character, and not you, not your camera, but your character can see the real one. You need to use your surroundings and figure out who is who. So for example, I use one of the columns in Rome to figure out and then kill my target. And finally, one of my favorite parts when playing AC, baiting. Baiting is when you play a mind game with your opponent and you make him waste an ability without you using any ability, otherwise you are trading abilities. So for example, you can make him think you are going to charge in and try to kill him, but stop in the last moment and he will panic and most likely drop the smoke bomb.